Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Good News Report. Are you still breathing? That is good news. I don't take it for granted when I wake up in the morning. I was sharing with some people this morning. We all go to bed at night anticipating that we're going to wake up the next morning, hopefully. And then when we do, we start our day and we're so busy with what we're doing and we forget what a miracle it is that the breath is still coming our way and we're able to exhale and release all that does not serve us. It's a beautiful thing and it is good news. Welcome to the Good News Report. I am Pamela Marshall, and it is just a pleasure to have you with us today. I hope that you are having a fantastic moment. We are continuing our conversations with candidates who are asking Gainesville voters for the opportunity to serve their community. Our guest today is Wyatt Zintiz, candidate for Gainesville City Commission District 2. Wyatt is a Gainesville native who has dedicated much of his life to public service. At 17 years old, he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps, serving as an infantry rifleman and later becoming a leader, including being deployed in two operations, Operation Iraqi Freedom. Wyatt has served in his community, and I want to make sure I give Wyatt all his props for putting on the form and pledging to stand in harm's way for us. He, at 17, enlisted in the United States Marine Corps, serving as an infantry rifleman and later a rifle team leader, including two combat deployments during Operation Iraqi Freedom and after his military service. Wyatt continued serving his hometown. He worked here in Gainesville with Public Works Department and is now a small business owner. Wyatt is joining us today to tell us more about these things that are important to him. And topping the list, Wyatt is a husband and father of two children, and I cannot think of any better service that you can give than those two titles. Wyatt, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Pamela.
Wyatt, did I say your last name correct? Zintez?
Zintiz. Zintiz, yes, ma'am.
Zintiz. Okay, want to
Yes,
get the
yes.
name right.
Thank you.
Wyatt is a candidate for Gainesville City Commission District 2. Early voting is underway. The last day for early voting is coming up Saturday. The election is August the 18th. How are you doing with this as a business owner, a dad, a husband, and campaigning? How's that going for you, Wyatt?
Well, it's a lot all at once in my life for sure. It's certainly chaotic, but I feel that the best way to handle it is to kind of embrace the chaos and just do what I can when I can, and just try to have a good attitude about it all while doing it, and be feel fortunate enough to even have the ability to have this many things going on at once in my life. I mean, not many people can say that.
Well, let me just say thank you for your service. We
Thank you.
appreciate you uh, raising your right hand, putting on the cloth of the nation, and pledging to serve and protect our freedom. So I honor you today for that and all of the men and women who have gone the path that you have gone. Why do you think that helps to prepare you to be a city commissioner? It
I
is
think it
kind of a
has. Sure. Yeah, yeah. I think the military service prepared me for, a commissioner position by exposing me to large organizations and how they operate, exposing me to the ways that they can oftentimes clog up with bureaucratic, obstacles that don't allow for the smooth functioning of those organizations, and particularly within my own experience. I started in both, you described it in your intro of me, but in both the military and in public works. I started from the bottom, like anybody would, and worked my way up to a leadership position. And I think that that experience in both roles allows me to have a perspective that most other people do not. You see a lot of people who either are in charge from the get go or they're at the bottom for life. And I was able to, climb that ladder, and in the process of climbing that ladder, see where things are going wrong for both organizations.
Well, I think that is an interesting perspective to bring to having worked in government. One of the things in your platform is addressing issues including GRU, homelessness, public safety, and what you have described, and I guess you've seen that from the inside, excessive government surveillance. Which one of those would you like to hop on?
The
What is
excessive government
excessive
surveillance.
government? Yeah, yeah, go ahead with that.
Yeah, that's very hot topic now. In the cultural zeitgeist. From the beginning of my campaign, it's a very concerning thing when we have that nature that are constantly recording us without our knowledge, and then that information is accessible to a bunch of actors that are not 100% trustworthy, whether it be rogue law enforcement agents, rogue government agents. We've already seen this in the news of people stalking exes using these technologies, or it could be a terrorist organization or hackers, criminal organizations using getting this data, getting this information, and using it maliciously. And that's why I'm so strongly against it.
So, what is it that you feel like you can do from a local level?
From a local perspective, as a commissioner, I would, call upon my other commissioners for us to, unite around definitely not engaging in any kind of contracts with outside agencies that offer to operate these kind of technologies for local governments like Flock, and as well as explore ways where, if we are already using some of these technologies, how to build accountability, how to build transparency, and always have strict guardrails concerning their use. Those are kinds of things that a commissioner can do.
Do you feel kind of like we're already remember the book and the play? I think it was 1984. Was that Orson
Certainly,
Welles?
it was Orson Welles.
Where it was futurist. Yeah. Do you remember that?
Certainly, yeah, yeah. It was a very good movie too, but I did read the book as well. I do remember that,
Yeah.
and it is concerning. Certainly, um, I don't think we're there. We're clearly not there yet. But these types of things, if not challenged, if not addressed, can have the ability to get out of hand, and then we don't know where we'll be at that point.
Yeah. Wyatt is a candidate for Gainesville City Commission District 2. He is vying for a position. He has opponents. I've invited all of them as well to be on the Good News Report. Wyatt, as you talked about homelessness, and as a veteran,
Mhm.
what are your thoughts on what you can do to address the challenges of your fellow men and women who have served this country, many who come back and don't have all of the services that they need, even though they have stood in harm's way for us. We are not doing, I don't believe, all that we should be doing to make sure that their lives are productive and smooth. The statistic that there every night in America, I think it's between 33 and 40 veterans who commit suicide. Um, have you done any work with that, or how do you see working and addressing homelessness as it relates to veterans or anybody else for that matter? How do we get our arms around that?
Right. It's a difficult, it's a national issue, and one that, a commissioner is not going to wave a magic wand for, but it's something that I've experienced in a small way myself. I was never homeless, but I was couch surfing for a little while earlier in post my experience in the Marines. Luckily, I had a Marine friend who let me do that. Um, so I do
Well,
have some
let me
personal
ask you this.
experience.
Yeah, let
Yeah,
me, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I don't want you
sure.
to go too far from that. How does it feel to come back after you have served this country as a Marine and
Mhm.
then feel that the support is not there for you, that you need to house surf, couch surf?
Yeah. It's very sad. It's often said that we care about our military while they're in the military, and then once they get out, they're kind of just, oh well, you're on your own. And I think there are earnest efforts to fix that kind of leaving people in the lurch situation. But it's incredibly difficult. And as a commissioner, the kind of things I can do are instruct staff to seek out federal grants in order to gain more monies to put into programs that will help veterans, and also direct staff to just have a more proactive attitude towards veterans affairs.
Um, as you said, this is a national issue. Do you see this, if elected, as a platform for you to be able to speak out more about the challenges that our veterans are facing?
Certainly, as a veteran, I'm always concerned about my fellow veterans, and would use this platform for good in that regard. Yes, um, you know, it's a small platform compared to others, but I'll use it to the best of my ability.
So, as it relates to what we have seen, um, I think it was last year when, in the closing of St. Francis House, and then
Right, I was going to
the
get to
picture that was on the news of the big,
that.
whatever the device is called, picking up the tents of
Mm-hmm.
people who were living in that area. And my
Yes.
heart just broke
Mm-hmm.
because if that's all they have, that is their home. And so, how would we feel if somebody came with a bulldozer and pushed our house over?
Right.
Um, how do we address that? It seems, with the closing of St. Francis House, and I thought, but we're spending
So much.
thousands of dollars, thousands of dollars on that space that we're creating an
Mm.
outdoor eating space, but we couldn't provide the money to keep St. Francis House open. That breaks my heart.
Right. And it breaks my heart as well. I'm a lifelong Gainesville resident. St. Francis House was an institution here. It had always been here for as long as I could remember. I moved here in 1995 as a child. Um, and it was a huge help to the local houseless community here, including with veterans. And I'm not sure who dropped the ball and where the commission could have helped, but I certainly, as commissioner myself, would have thrown more of a fit and fought to keep that place alive, because without it, there's this huge void. And Planned Parenthood as well. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. They closed recently as well. Another kind of important institution
Mm.
that bridges a gap between public and private kind of services, and now it's gone. And the commission, yes, you talk about things like outdoor eating spaces and things like that. It sometimes seems that the commission uh, is not focusing on those essential services, uh, rather than the kind of pretty things that they can do.
Yeah, because I think as I hear people who are vying for office, how do you come to these spaces with this heart and compassion, and then you get the vote and you have an opportunity to do something? And I feel like as an elected official, you are responsible for the voiceless. And those two groups of people that you just talked about, those people who go to Planned Parenthood or who were depending on St. Francis House, they don't have lobbyists.
Yeah, yeah.
So
They don't have
they
a
don't have
voice.
people
Yeah,
who, yeah,
yeah, and
they don't have lobbyists.
as those types of, I'm very in touch with those types of groups because that is who I am. I'm a member of the working class. I've dealt with not always being secure in my housing, and I've had friends and family members who have had the same kind of experiences. And as you said, I don't know where that disconnect comes between gaining the office and then forgetting all of what you might have spoke about. And it may be trite to say, but I certainly don't intend to do that if elected.
Well, let's just talk about being elected. What is it about this community that you came to the point that you said to your family, your wife? I don't know if your children understand. How old are your children?
They're 2.5 and 1.5, so very little.
Oh, how cute. Girls, boys.
One boy, one girl.
Okay. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah,
So you have one of each. How many more do you want?
we're stopping there. We're stopping there. So we're good. They are enough of a handful to take care of. So we'll focus on making them into good little citizens.
And so, what do you enjoy most? I was going to ask you something else, but what do you enjoy most about being a dad?
For me, it's those little moments when, my son says, I love you for the first time, or when they giggle, or, you're just having a good time with them and everything feels right, because I won't sugarcoat it. A lot of parenthood is hard, especially these early years here, with the diaper changes and the tantrums and, you know, all of that. But it's those little moments when they give you a hug, you know, uh, that really just make it all worth it for us.
It does. It does feel like a lot in those beginning years, but wait till they're in their young adult life or teens, and you're hoping that they would call. That you're wishing they call.
I will look forward to it. Yeah.
Well, remind yourself of that when you're going. You pooped again. What did you eat?
Will do. Will do.
So, who's the oldest? Your daughter or your son?
My son he's 2.5. His name is Leonidas. We call him Leo. He'll be turning 3 in December or in November. She'll be turning 2 in December.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, congratulations on that. Tell
Thank
me,
you.
so what made you decide that you wanted to run?
What made me decide to run was as a lifelong resident here, I've observed politics from afar my whole life. And I'm also a degree holder in a political science degree. So it has been a lifelong kind of obsession of mine to be a political observer, to engage in politics, to vote, to protest, to organize, to volunteer. And now that I saw this open position here and felt like I was the best person positioned to do the best job for that position. I've worked in our government. I already have relationships with people in the Gainesville government. I know how it works. I know its departments. I know who does what. I know who to call when the trash cans haven't been emptied. So. I just feel like this calling, like, okay, this is your opportunity to drive real change in the community that you love. This is the place that I've loved my whole life. I went off into the Marines and saw the world, and what I saw was great, but I also knew at the same time seeing it, I want to go back to Gainesville and start my family. And once you're so invested into a community, you want it to do as best as it can, and that's why I threw my hat in the ring and ran for District 2 commissioner.
So you talk about reducing spending, um, and of course, we need the taxes to pay for those kinds of things. So as you look at reducing spending and lowering taxes, are there some services where you see that that can be done, or what are the services that you say? this we have to keep, but this we can do away with or reduce the amount that we spend on?
Well, I would like to start with internal executive officer salaries. I believe they're bloated and outsized for the size of our city, the size of our government, and the state averages. I know that's not going to recoup millions and millions of dollars, but it's a beginning step. I also would like to cancel our contract with the Downtown Ambassadors Program. It's an out of town corporation that somebody in government decided, hey, let's spend $3.1 million on to do the services that we already have organizations for. They're called the police, the fire department, and the public works department. And so those are some first steps. I'd also like to identify ways where we can recoup money or gain revenue without burdening our residents, and through whether that be through the University of Florida, or whether we do things like we're doing with RTS, where we're renting out buses to offset the amount of money that UF has stopped sending us for the RTS system, things like that, in order to save money, to reduce the budget without putting an additional burden on taxpayers or sacrificing essential services.
How much do you think that could change if citizens were more involved in going to meetings, expressing their concern? Or do you think people just don't understand or don't feel like if they go to a meeting that they would be listened to? These things that you're talking about that you've seen, um, why do you think citizens don't speak up about these kinds of things?
I think there's multiple reasons why. One, we're all so busy, right? We're all at work. We're all taking care of our families. And a lot of these commission meetings occur during the day, and certainly during the work week. So that's one big obstacle for citizen participation. And you touched on it a little, I do think oftentimes commissioners have instilled a sense of futility in the citizenry because they don't listen. They don't seem to be genuinely moved by public statements that conflict with the decisions they then make. A citizen could say, hey, this is going to affect this community in a horrible way, and please don't do this. And then a commission will unanimously vote, hey, we're going to do it anyway. And I don't, I'd love to talk to actual politicians as to why they're so callous in that way. But it is a troubling thing, and I think those are the kind of reasons why you don't see more citizen participation.
Which is really sad because
Yes.
that's, when you talk about leadership and accountability, um, what do you do when no one's watching? Is the real character of a person, as it has been said over and over again. Not what you do when the citizens show up and speak, but what you do as a leader when nobody is watching. So let me just ask you this. If you are elected, what would you want to accomplish in your first 100 days?
In my first 100 days, I would like to address executive officer salaries, get us out of the downtown ambassador program. I'd also like, hopefully, we don't have to deal with Amendment 3, the property tax bill passing. I am against that. But I would like to address property taxes here in the city, as well as assessments and fees, which keep on going up. The commission keeps on raising the prices because they want to increase their revenue and increase their budget, because it's an organizational thing, right? No organization wants to make less money than they did last year, even a government organization. But as commissioners, as elected officials, we need to recognize that that's putting a burden on our citizenry. So those things. I would hopefully build consensus for us to stop the legal fight with the GRU authority that we're engaging in. At this point, it's a complete waste of money, and we're only lining the pockets of whatever lawyers we're paying to deal with this. The state has preempted our control. I voted for local control of the utility when I was on my ballot, but we've lost that battle, and it doesn't seem like we're going to win it anytime soon. So it's best to probably move forward in a conciliatory and amicable fashion with GRU rather than to continue a legal fight that doesn't solve anything.
So you don't think we can overcome this? You think it's done?
If somebody's got I think we have leverage over the GRU authority. I was told some things by some other local candidates for office. I won't say their name, but they did mention, hey, we can use this to leverage the GRU authority to help us. And in any way that we can do that, as a commissioner, I would do that. But I do think that we're not going to gain control over the utility. No.
Hmm. And so, what does that mean for the community if we never regain control of the utility?
Well, it means that we need to be more vigilant as citizens as to what that GRU authority is doing, and ensure that they're not making decisions that are going to make our rates as consumers of their power go up and make things worse. Right now, from my perspective, it does not seem that the authority is acting in that way. It does seem that they're earnestly trying to resolve the GRU's debt. They're earnestly trying to keep prices down. They do not cooperate with the commission that well at the moment, but I think there are current commissioners that are exacerbating that tension and not trying to solve the problem. They're just making it worse.
We have been enjoying a conversation with Wyatt Zintiz. Did I say it right?
Zintiz.
Zintiz.
Yes.
The I is an E. Zintiz. Wyatt
Yes.
Zintiz, who is a
Yes, ma'am.
candidate for Gainesville City Commission District 2. The election is August 18th. I do thank you so much for sharing time, and seems like we're going to get this in before the babies wake up. But real quick
That's great.
before you go,
Sure.
we're going to do a little lightning round that I enjoy doing with those that I interview. It's
Okay.
just a fun little thing. You don't have to overthink it. Just answer the question. Coffee or tea? I see you're drinking something else. What are you drinking there?
That's Gatorade right now, but coffee, 100% coffee.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning person.
Hey, how about this one? What's your favorite military movie?
Oh goodness. I really like Platoon with Charlie Sheen. That's Vietnam era there.
As a journalist, it's hard for me to watch movies about the business that I'm in.
Mm.
And is it difficult for you as a veteran to watch military
Wow.
movies?
It has been my whole life, and you're the first person to speak to it in that way. Yeah, you watch it and you go, oh, we would never do that, or oh, that's not how it's done, and no, and yeah, so you cringe instead of enjoying the movie. So yes, frankly, I don't watch many military movies. So
Yeah, yeah, you feel like a continuity critic.
right, yeah.
All right, okay. So, your favorite place in Gainesville?
Northwest Grill. I used to work there as a kid. It's a great little seafood steak restaurant on 39th Avenue, and I think it's 51st or 53rd, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, I've enjoyed eating there as well. And your favorite thing about being a daddy?
Oh, my favorite thing is when my kids say "I love you." Yeah, that's my favorite thing.
Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet. What's one word that describes Gainesville to you?
Amazing. It's an amazing place.
It is. So, what is amazing about it for you?
For me, it's this incredible blend that you cannot find anywhere else of old Florida charm and culture, a kind of slower lifestyle, amazing natural beauty that is incomparable anywhere else in the world, and top that with an eclectic culture, because we have this influx of students and professors that keep us on our toes, that bring new information and new cuisines and all that kind of stuff. We get that all in a small town that has less than 150,000 people, something like that. You
Yeah,
can't find that anywhere else.
yeah, yeah. And there's nothing like a Gator weekend. It doesn't matter which team you're rooting for, but it's really special for me. I graduated from college. We didn't have a football team, so I was easy picking to become a Gator fan.
Mm,
Um, but it's amazing. I'm able to watch it from a different perspective, watching how people interact. People in the stands who may not speak to each other after the game is over, but boy, when the Gators score, high five,
yes,
camaraderie.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, that's fun to watch. You have been a leader, and you're leading the troops of two, a troop of
Yes,
two, right?
that's right. Yes, ma'am.
What what one word that describes your leadership style?
Um, I would from the. I guess it's not one word, but from the front. I like to lead from the front. I like to um, demonstrate what I expect the people I'm leading to do. And if I can't do it, why am I asking anybody else to?
Favorite book, Wyatt?
Oh, favorite book. Let's go with 1984. That it was a big book for me growing up.
Eh, The Art of Forgiveness by Pamela D. Marshall.
Oh, that's the one. Okay.
No, that is a good book, and I did see the play when it was here at the Hippodrome, when they did it at the Hippodrome and an exhibit. Great play, great movie, great book. How insightful back then to write about today.
Absolutely.
If you could have dinner with anyone living or deceased, who would that be?
Oh, goodness gracious. I'm gonna go with Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. Mm,
Hmm.
mm.
All right. Cool. Cool.
And pick
We,
his
we can have a
brain.
whole discussion, huh?
I'd pick his brain for a while, ask him some questions.
That's wonderful. A spiritual guide, a spiritual leader to sit and have an opportunity to dissect. What Gainesville tradition you hope never disappears?
Hmm. The Hogtown Medieval Fair, I would say. It has been on some rocky ground lately with the fairgrounds issues and things like that, but I hope that it always stays here. Yeah.
Oh, it is very popular. Very popular. If you could fix one Gainesville problem tomorrow, what would that be, Wyatt?
Oh, homelessness, certainly. Yeah.
Mm. What's something people might be surprised to learn about Wyatt?
I like to crochet. I make
What?
little, yeah, I make little stuffed animals called amigurumi, yeah, crochet. They're made out of yarn. I made two big ones for my kids when they were born. Yeah,
Oh, how sweet. How sweet. You know,
thank you.
you can crochet a whole wedding gown. You might want to
Oh,
start coaching your daughter into accepting daddy's crocheted wedding gown. See,
I better start now too because it's going to take that long.
yeah, I don't know how to do it, and you may be absolutely right. What's one thing that always makes you laugh?
Oh, when my kids are laughing and running around, that's always gives me a giggle.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
I love hearing children laugh. I just feel like it's just the voice of God when they're just and a
Oh,
big old
certainly
belly laugh.
nothing
It's
more
just
pure. Nothing more pure.
absolutely. What gives you hope?
Hope the people that I've been meeting, the participation that I see in our politics, local politics, despite it not being enough, there still are an incredibly large amount of people that are dedicated to, um, you know, helping out their community, participating in their civic duties, and that is really hopeful for me.
This is the Good News Report with Pamela, and we've been talking to Wyatt Zintiz. Zintiz.
Zintiz. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I'll have it right by the time you're elected.
Yes,
Wyatt
ma'am.
Zintiz.
Thank you, ma'am.
And you've just been so kind to share time and to give our listeners and viewers another in insight to this man who is um, wanting to serve again his community through being an elected official. So I really thank you so much for being here. But what, since this is a good news report, what is the one thing about Gainesville that you believe is worth celebrating?
Our diversity, just how diverse of a place that we are, despite being such a small population. And that is something always worth celebrating.
It is a diverse community. Wyatt, again, thank you. I look forward to seeing you, your wife, and those two babies of yours. They're two beautiful babies. And best of luck to you as you continue campaigning leading up to the August 18th election. I look forward to seeing and talking to you again.
Thank you, ma'am.
Everybody, thank you so much for being a part of the Good News Report. We really appreciate you being interested enough in this political process to find out more about the candidates. And what I am encouraging you to do is think of going to vote as a family affair. You could get in the car and go vote by yourself. But you could also pick up the phone and make sure that every voting age person in your family, grandmother, grandpa, auntie, uncle, cousins, and say, let's go vote as a family because the people that we are electing will impact the things that we enjoy in our community. So regardless to whether you're in Alachua County, Gainesville, or anywhere else across the country, please, I urge you to exercise your right to vote. Again, thank you for joining us for these episodes to better get to know the candidates who are asking for your support in the upcoming elections. I'm Pamela Marshall at the Wellness Radio TV and at the Wellness Radio TV podcast. Remember, there is healing at the well. How about this? You go be good news to somebody